Systems fail. Engines burn. Plastics melt. A Gulf Stream. 17 tons of aluminum and ambition may finally perform its one honest act. Become confetti. Any minute. But what the hell happened up there at FL350? Chen's hands wouldn't stop shaking. Neither would the rest of him. Adrenaline crash. He was inside the aircraft, moving on autopilot, muscle memory. A lifetime of flight hours guiding him through the dark layout. He knew the steps, the cabin, the galley. He knew the exact space. But in the darkness, his boots kept finding things. He stepped over them automatically. The place was chaos.
Altered course. Standard procedure to skirt the edge of the convective storm front. Routine weather deviation. Nothing more.
He leaned into the forward galley. Storage compartments burst open. Catering trays dumped into the mud, oozing through the floorboards.
CAS messages? None. Electrical bus failure?
He reached into a broken storage locker, groping for emergency equipment. Nothing.
Dual generator loss. The standby battery should have kicked in. Nothing fit.
An oxygen mask brushed against his face, dangling, swinging slowly in the dark. The aviation manuals didn't have a chapter for what he saw. The main displays didn't flicker. They didn't fade. They died. The plain view avionics, the primary flight instruments, the backup arrays, the radios, even the emergency flashlights in their cockpit brackets. Total, instantaneous, black.
No. Systems fail. Pilots fail. But not everything. Not at once.
He moved toward the rear galley. His hands gripped the edge of a twisted partition. When he pulled away, wet, shaking prints stayed behind on the composite veneer. He stopped. Then, muffled by the thick metal walls and the heavy downpour, a sharp, high scream broke through from the jungle.
We've got her!
Beth's voice, unmistakable. The loop snapped. He pressed his palm against the cold, dead bulkheads and whispered to the airframe.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault, baby.
The calls came back immediately, closer, running. Beth arrived first. Lucia, only 2 steps behind. Then Stan. Chen. Beth dropped to her knees, professional instinct taking over before emotion could. She gently took the girl's wrist.
Can you hear me?
A tiny nod.
Do you know your name?
A slow movement. No. Beth waited. The girl stared at her. Almost a whisper.
Louise.
Another pause.
Call me Lyra.
Nobody spoke. Keen stood at the edge of the torchlight, watching the jungle, listening. Beth kept holding her hand. Only then did something inside her finally let go. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough. Her shoulders lowered. Her eyes dropped to the muddy hand resting inside hers. She whispered so quietly that Lyra caught only fragments. Only after a few seconds did the words become whole. A prayer.
Our Father.
Lyra watched Beth's face. Nothing else. The corner of her mouth, the movement of her lips,
Hallowed be thy
her
name.
breathing. Slowly, the tunnel around her widened. She looked beyond Beth. Stan,
Kingdom come.
head bowed, hands still wrapped around an invisible control column. Chen, standing beside him.
Will be done
He wasn't listening to the words.
on earth
He was still back there,
as it is in
in the
heaven.
dark cockpit. He looked detached, empty. But his body wasn't finished. Every few moments, a violent tremor ran through his shoulders. Then, it released him. Until the next one came. Lucia, eyes closed, not repeating the prayer. Only one thought.
Please, save us. Send someone. Just get us out.
She'd watched this scene before, in clean, scripted dramas. It always ended the same way. The brush parted, the clean-cut rescuers stepped through, and the nightmare was over. It always happened. It had to happen here, too. Michael, dirty hand supporting his chin, somewhere else entirely. When Beth whispered,
Forgive us our debts as we forgive our
his
debtors.
eyes changed
Thy will be
almost
done.
imperceptibly. Then
Earth
they became distant again.
as it is in heaven.
Keen didn't look back at the light. He let the words pass over him.
And
People
deliver us.
needed rituals.
Deliver us.
He kept his eyes on the dark.
Amen.
Lyra looked back at Beth
Amen.
very quietly. For a few seconds, nobody moved. All right. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Now, let it out slow. Feel it.
Take a look around.
And outside the window.
Awesome.
All right. Back into the jungle. Then Michael grimaced and raised his wrist. A reflex. The watch face was shattered. The hands stopped. He stared at it another second.
Now, even times, FUBAR. These could have bought a monkey army or traded for bananas out here.
He let out a dry laugh. Nobody laughed. Stan stood up first, like a man giving orders to himself.
We salvage what's left.
He looked toward the wreckage.
Medkits, water, food, anything useful. I'm checking the beacon. Don't wander off. Stay visible. Ladies, stay together.
He was already moving before he finished speaking. For a second, nobody spoke. Then, Michael suddenly looked up.
I'll sue. I'll sue the airline. I'll sue the
Lucia snapped her head up. Her eyes glittered in the dark.
Sue?
She almost laughed.
Are you insane? Look around.
Her voice broke.
We could die out here in that black hole. No one knows where we are. No one!
Beth pulled Lyra closer.
It's okay, honey. It's okay, honey. Shh. It's okay.
She was lying. Everyone knew she was lying. The rain weakened, then stopped, as if the sky had listened. Stan disappeared into the wreckage. Chen gave a short nod and crawled toward the overturned baggage section. His movements were slow, jagged, purposeful. Nobody felt safer, but having something to do was close enough. Keen walked toward the aircraft without a word. Beth scrambled after the others, slipping on the wet grass, clutching the first aid kit like a holy relic. Every few seconds, she looked back at Lyra. The girl hadn't moved, knees drawn up, eyes open, watching.
Michael kicked over a shattered luggage compartment, ripped open a garment bag. Clothes. He froze. His eyes went wide, staring at something half buried in the vines.
For a second, nobody heard anything except water dripping from the trees. Then, a bark of laughter, wild, jagged, and loud, erupted from his throat, startling the birds.
You know,
He wheezed, wiping rain from his face.
I always said I'd kill for decent single malt. I just didn't expect the airline to treat that as a binding contract.
He reached into the chaos of mud, vines, and twisted aluminum and pulled. It was absurd, impossible. A bespoke mahogany liquor cabinet, gold handles, marble top, sitting there like it was waiting for room service. The impact had shattered the plane, but somehow this heavy, bourgeois altar to alcoholism had slid down the slope intact. Michael popped a leather latch and pulled out a pristine bottle of whiskey. The amber liquid caught the dull light. He looked toward the cockpit wreckage, raising the bottle in a mock toast.
Gentlemen up front!
He shouted into the silence.
Getting this particular black box down without a scratch? That almost buys your way out of purgatory!
If you think rescue is about screaming at the sky and building massive signal fires, in the next episode, I'll show you how to take ruthless control of a whole group of survivors for their own good. Hit subscribe.